This is about the new moon in Taurus, which is today, May 15th, 2018. A new moon is a time of beginning. It is when the moon is the darkest. There is no light being shined upon it. And the moon and the sun are coupled. That means they're in the same position of the sky. So they're pulling energy from the same place. And a full moon's the opposite of that. They're pulling almost against each other. So the earth is between this kind of tugging motion. So when the moon is with the sun, the energy is very much of the same. And it is traditionally a time to plant seeds. It is a time to release everything that you have pent up from the last full moon, which was in Scorpio. That was a really intense full moon for me. I actually was planning on making a video, but had several instances, both good and bad, happen that prevented me from being able to. And that was a huge transformational moon period, and coming down energy-wise to the new moon in Taurus, I feel very much that it is about totally letting go of that shadow reaction side to ourselves. We all have a shadow side that seeks to protect us and help us survive, but at the same time we can be pushed into very knee-jerk reactionary states that show us how we deal and communicate with people, but also how to navigate maintaining your vibration in order to handle interpersonal relationships in the best manner possible, and kind of picking your battles and for me, realizing that I'm not fighting against anyone, and I can't force anyone who I feel has behaved inappropriately from changing. All you can do is, this is Leia, one of our puppies. Say hi, Leia. Anyway, with new moon in Taurus, it's an earth sign, so traditionally this would be a great time to plant seeds. Last new moon was in Aries, which is a fire sign, so that was really more about pushing that energy forward and propelling that motion forward. Now there's a lot more energy, which I discovered at the full moon in Scorpio. So much energy, and finding my personal power and then choosing where to direct that energy, and like I said, directing it towards a fight. You're never going to win, but pushing that momentum towards a positive step forward is what is going to have the best effect on you personally, because you can always choose to be happy and joyful at every single moment, even if someone has just done something terrible to you. Important thing with this new moon in Taurus is that Uranus is also entering Taurus around this time. It's a slow moving planet, so around the next few days is when the shift is really happening, and Uranus is a very explosive and rebellious planet. It turns on its axis almost exactly with its orbit, so it looks like it's spinning sideways in on itself, and so it's very unorthodox. It is very much related to the Aquarian age and the sign of Aquarius. It's the natural ruler of Aquarius, and it takes 84 years to go around the sun, so it is a transpersonal planet. It affects us generationally, and it goes through each sign every 7 years or so. So it will be in Taurus for the next 7 years. 7 years ago, when Uranus entered Aries, which is a very explosive fire sign, was very close to when Fukushima happened, which that's not going to happen again with this shift because it's going into an earth sign. But from that disaster came a very strong desire and need for more security in terms of nuclear explosive firepower. And with Uranus entering Taurus, I feel like the rebellion is going to truly be a green rebellion or the green revolution. For the next 7 years, you can definitely see more protests relating to the environment and environmental issues. And I also feel like there's going to be a strong push towards urban gardening and people growing their own food because we are going to be growing more and more concerned with things that we're going to find out about how our food is grown and processed and manipulated, and how that affects us personally too. Taurus rules our money, it rules our diet, it rules our fertility. It's very much of the earth, of the ox. Stubbornness is there's going to be a stubborn, people aren't going to budge about having the environment be an issue, which I think is going to be a huge issue coming up with this election for Congress and senators in the United States later this year. So putting your energy towards how you feel you can make an improvement in the green revolution is going to be at your favor. Those of you who are working for themselves or their business is related to a green business or a Aquarian type business, a healing business, therapy, food related industries are going to really find major breakthroughs forward. And those of you who are working for large food corporations that are hurting our environment, like Monsanto or Nestle, Nestle freaking taking all this natural water from states in the United States without paying barely anything and really fucking up our aquifers and basically stealing our water and resources, people are going to be more upset about that. So if you work in those industries, it's a good time to get out. It's a good time to sell stocks in those types of industries because those too big to fail type industries are no longer going to be supported under this Uranus and Taurus rebellion. And you're going to find new inventive ways of making money. The internet's full of potential, and more people, young and old, are going to find ways in which they can participate in that growing economy that is sustainable. Sustainable design is going to be a key feature too. So, like, if you have a business, how can you reduce your plastic usage? How can you make sure all of your packaging is recyclable? Making sure that our trash output is less and less and less. We're going to come up with really clever and inventive ways of doing that. So this new moon is also opposite Jupiter in Scorpio. Jupiter has been in Scorpio since around October, and it travels through each sign for about a year or 13 or 14 months. I suggest looking up your natal chart in order to see where your Jupiter is, but with Jupiter in Scorpio, everything is expanded there's an expansion in the meaning of Scorpio. So there is a lot of death, burial, and resurrection. There is a lot of the idea of the phoenix burning to ashes and then regrowing from the ashes. And so you may feel that there has been a lot of trial, tribulation, and overcoming very intense experiences, emotions, situations, fears being released and addressed. And with this new moon opposite that, it's really saying that we can take that ash that we've burned and mix it with our soil and make a really fertile ground for these seeds that we are planning to grow from. They aren't being planted in rocks, they're being planted in very nourished soil that has all of that nitrogen and everything that has been left behind in the ashes in order to grow again. And it's that beautiful cycle. And sometimes we have to be appreciative of endings, because in those endings come new beginnings. And if things have to die in order for the cycle to be able to continue to happen, because we can't all live forever, and a tree can't live forever, and a dog can't live forever, and that regeneration cycle makes us appreciate so much more the growth cycle, because from those endings are plenty of opportunities for new beginnings. Every relationship that ends offers a new relationship to begin. So the new moon opposite this is saying take from what you've learned, and we have a lot of fertile soil because we've burned away a lot. So with that burned soil, put it all over your yard and turn your whole yard into a garden, and it will be fertilized. So another important thing that's happened and is happening is the transition of Saturn in Capricorn that came in So another important aspect that has happened recently is Saturn in Capricorn. It entered Capricorn in December of last year, and it will be in this sign for another 2.5 years until 2020. And it's especially important for those of you who are around the age 27 to 29, because your Saturn is in Capricorn. It travels around the sun in about 27, 29 years. And so you're having what's called the Saturn return, which has a lot of negative connotations, but ultimately is entering a full round of adulthood. You are coming into a full stage or cycle in your life and beginning this next Saturn journey, in which you kind of have this shield that you've developed, this exoskeleton that has been slowly growing and can somewhat be a painful process to go through. But Saturn is the teacher. He is time, Chronos, and he's actually the ruler of Capricorn too. So you have another planet who is you have Saturn very much in its element, teaching you its most basic lessons of conservation and planning for the future ahead, and taking those necessary but monumental steps to get higher and higher and higher. Capricorn is the sea goat, so you see this goat that is climbing a mountain and climbing higher and higher, and there's no peak in which you stop. You just keep getting higher and higher and higher, and Saturn is bringing us there. And it can be painful because we've been wasting our time, our energy, our resources on certain things. It's going to be brought to our attention that, hey, we can be using these resources wiser. And yeah, so anyway, if you want to know more about that, I should probably make a video about this as well, so you can get very much in depth about how it's going to affect each sign individually, and affect those who also have planets in Capricorn, like I have Uranus and Neptune and my North Node all in Capricorn. So all of those are being highlighted by this Saturn transit, but I will go into more detail later. So let me know if you want to see that video, because the more demand I get for this video, the more likely I will be to make it. So okay, now I'm going to do the Sun, Moon, Ascendant for all 12 signs. So you can read any of these for your Sun, Moon, Ascendant. Most of you know your Sun sign. That is traditionally what people will know based on your birth date itself. Your Ascendant is based on your birth time, and your moon sign is based on where the moon was at the time of your birth. In order to find that out, I have a link on my website, markallen.studio. That's markallen.studio. It will take you to a place that I trust to give you your natal chart. You can put in your information and it will send you there. If you want more information, then you can contact me, because I now offer astrology reports. An astrology info report is basically about you, about how each of the planets affect you, the personal planets, the transpersonal planets, your sun, your moon, your ascendant, etc. And also how the planets in their transitioning are affecting you personally based on your natal chart. First step is to know your natal chart. Second step is to compare what's going on now with the exact time and date of your birth, because from that information you can extrapolate other information on how different planets are touching upon planets that are in your natal chart, which essentially makes up the vibrational essence of who you are. If you like these videos, please share with your friends and family. Each of their signs will be in here, so if they know their sign, they can find out how this new moon is going to affect them. Also, I'm having a pineapple art sale to raise money for my film that I'm making this summer called Neon Western, with my good friend and cinematographer Morgan Cooper and some other models and actresses that I've worked with before. More information about that is coming soon, but stay tuned, because this is my release and seed planting that I am putting out for my personal new moon in Taurus. For the sign of Taurus, this new moon is in your first house, especially if your ascendant is in Taurus. If your moon or your sun sign is also in Taurus, this is applicable. The first house has to deal with self-identity, body, and initiation. So, you're redefining what your body means to you, how you see yourself, especially with Taurus relating to diet. I would think that going through a process of starting new trends in what you eat and what you take pleasure in eating, or if you enjoy cooking, also a start of something that you've been thinking about for a while. This is a good time to plant the seeds for that new business that you're thinking about starting, a new way of making money, side hustle, something that you've wanted to make, something that you've had a goal in mind, a play, a song, a video. Now is a good time in these next few weeks to build upon and set a goal for yourself over the next 2 weeks on what you want to create, what you want to improve upon in your own body, and kind of new ways of looking at yourself and new ways of identifying yourself. Perhaps there's a new hobby that you've had and it has led to a career ambition that you haven't had before, something that is going to bring pleasure into your life, something that is going to bring beauty. Taurus rules Venus, or Venus rules Taurus, so anything that has to do with the Venus qualities of kind of that feminine touch in terms of interior design, or in terms of the right color choice or the right palette, kind of a new way of seeing things, a new way of appreciating things. For instance, if you feel like your house has gotten dull, or your living place has seemed rather dull, this would be a good time to make a plan on things that you want to improve. Like, I want to put up more art in my house, I want to change the color of my shower curtain, I want to redo my kitchen, or maybe little simple things. It's not like you have to redo everything at once, but this is a good time to start the ideas of how you can simply improve the beauty that surrounds you in your car, in your home, in your office, anywhere that you spend a lot of time in, and also looking at how you spend your time and how you can spend your time more wisely. If you'd like more information about your sign in particular or about your astrology chart, be sure to hit me up. My email is in the information. It's markallenconcepts@gmail.com. You can find more info on my website, markallen.studio/astrology. I have new packages of different info reports you can do on your personal natal chart and the transit planets. If you like this video, please let me know. I'd love to hear feedback, comments. If you want to share this video, that'd be great too. Okay, bye. For Aries, this new moon is in your second house. Especially if your ascendant is Aries, or if your moon is in Aries, or your sun is in Aries, this applies to you as well. If you would like to know that information, if you don't already, I'd recommend going to my website. I have a link to a place you can get a free natal chart from that will tell you where all the planets were at the time of your birth. If you want to know more, I have new astrology information packages available if you would like. My email is markallenconcepts@gmail.com, and my website's markallen.studio/astrology. So the moon is in your second house, and the second house has to deal with things regarding money, possessions, value, or hidden talents, and especially since it is in the sign of Taurus, which is the sign of money, it very much has to do with what new adventures are you going on in terms of what value you find in your relationships, in your time spent in whatever craft or service that you provide. The value of your hour, you're going to question how valuable is my hourly wage, and how can I either start thinking about improving that in whatever way that's possible, whether that's working towards a raise or a promotion, or if you're having your own business, or you're thinking of starting your own business, or you're wanting to push your business further, you're going to get inspiration, should you seek it, for ways that you can find more value in your hidden talents, or your talents that maybe you've neglected. Maybe it's a talent from childhood that you've given up on, or you placed aside, like a musical instrument, or drawing, or singing, or dancing, or acting, or whatever that may be. Maybe you're starting to think about how you could pick that up again. Maybe you were really good at flute in high school, and your friends are starting a jazz band, and you're thinking, man, I could get in on this, and I could start playing flute again, and that could eventually turn into something that could bring more value into my experience, and maybe even more money as a side hustle. The key here is the seed that you're planting. So knowing this information, I would recommend taking time to write the talents that you have, that you see in yourself, new talents that you've discovered about yourself, whether that's interpersonal talents, whether that's your written ability, or something that you've improved upon that you didn't realize how good you were, but now looking at other people you realize that you're pretty good at this one thing compared to someone else. Not that you have to compare yourself to anyone else, but if you know in the grand scheme of things that what you do is valuable comparatively, that helps you build value in yourself, especially if you're in the corporate job world or in the personal job world. The more talents that you're able to identify in yourself, the more you're going to be able to present those talents, and the more lucrative you're going to look to your clients or your employer in terms of the abilities that you have to bring value to the table, to bring quality to the table. So focus on those aspects of yourself over the next 2 weeks, and even keeping that list with you or keeping it near your mirror and saying those kind of affirmative talents that you like about yourself, skills that you like that you have and enjoyed learning and are enjoying to continue to learn and improve upon. That will be good for you. Like I said, if you like this video, please share it. Please let me know if you found this information helpful. I love to hear any feedback. Would love to hear things that you would like to know more about, because this is my first time doing this kind of thing, and I'm working towards I'm working towards sharing the knowledge that I've gained about astrology with people who are eager for that type of information, and I'm happy to share more with anyone who wants to know more. If you want to go to my website, I have all my information. It's www.markallen.studio/astrology. Hello, Pisces. This is your astrology forecast for this new moon period in Taurus. Taurus is your third house. This applies to those who have Pisces as their ascendant, their sun, or their moon sign, and will affect those aspects of your life. Interpersonally, if you want to know more about this, if you do not know your ascendant or moon sign, which is determined on your birth time and your place of birth, and I recommend going to my website, www.markallen.studio. I have a link to a place you can get your free natal chart, and it'll tell you more about that. And if you want to learn more about that from me, I will be releasing more videos, and you can contact me for my astrology report packages that I have available, information reports. For Pisces, the new moon is in your third house. Third house rules things regarding communications, your siblings, transportation, and short journeys. So these, not all of them will be highlighted, but some of them, maybe all, maybe one, maybe more. It really depends on you personally and the other planets you have in your chart. But overall, the new moon is looking at how you communicate with others. Perhaps there is a desire to improve your communication skills, or to be able to travel more, even if it is going camping on the weekends, perhaps with your siblings. If you haven't talked to your siblings for a while, or if you're close with your siblings, it would be great to share that experience with them if you can. Or if perhaps your sibling lives a few hours away from you and you're thinking about going and visiting more often, or thinking about how you can communicate more or improve upon your communication skills, or keeping in contact more. It's a good time if you're looking to start something new, if you're looking to start a new business, which a lot of people are looking for ways they can make a side hustle, especially with the internet, and especially with free time. And if that's something you're looking towards doing that's also favored at this time, the new moon is always a good time to plant new seeds. So whatever goals that you have in terms of your business, your family, your communication, etc. It'd be a good idea to make a list of things that you want to grow, kind of these seeds that you're wanting to plant, since it is an earth sign. It's a very fertile time to plant seeds, plant a garden. These aspects are being highlighted. Overall, Pisces is a very mystical sign, and many Piscean people have had a lot of karmic events happen in their life, very fated events that have brought them very close with the spirit world in some way, good and bad. But Piscean people have gone into the underworld and returned, so they are familiar with the unseen forces naturally, and this new moon is allowing them to access that knowledge and be able to communicate that. So perhaps there's a sibling that you have that you need to console because something has happened, and there's an experience that happened to you, so you're able to empathize. Perhaps there are new ways of you reaching out and sharing your personal experience so that others may benefit. So let me know if you liked this video. If you did, please share it, and please give me feedback. My email's on my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology. If you'd like to know more information, feel free to ask. Okay, for Aquarius, this new moon is happening in your 4th house. Your 4th house has to deal with things such as your home, your parents, and your base of consciousness, your foundation. This is applicable to anyone who has Aquarius for their sun sign, their ascendant, or their moon sign. If you do not know what ascendant or moon sign you are, I recommend going to my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology, and I have a link that will lead you to a free natal chart that will, based on your personal information, will show you where all the planets were at the time of your birth. And if you'd like to know more about that, I have astrology packages that I'm now offering based on the knowledge that you want to know, and you can see all of that information on my website as well. So with the new moon happening until the full moon happening 2 weeks later, this is a period about growing your sense of comfort and sense of beauty in your home, your parents, and your base of consciousness in kind of those regards. So in terms of your home, perhaps you're wanting to bring more beauty into your home, bring more art, bring more design, vintage furniture, cool mirrors, things that will bring beauty into your home and will build that foundation, build your comfort in your space. And over the next 2 weeks, if you have these goals, make a list of things that you want to improve. You don't have to do them all at once, but kind of set guidelines for yourself over the next 2 weeks of things that you want to add into your vibrational experience. So if you have a troubled relationship with your parents, perhaps, or if you've lost your parents, or if your parents are distant, finding ways to communicate and bring more harmony into your relationship with that. And if your parents are deceased, or one of your parents is deceased, I recommend lighting a candle for them, perhaps, with a picture of them, and just asking for them to speak to you, or bringing comfort into your life, knowing that they're somewhere out there. Even you don't have to necessarily understand what's out there in order to just communicate and feel their presence. And if you're looking to build upon your consciousness, this is a good time to start asking the questions that you want to know more about. So perhaps there's a spiritual quandary, or there's a deep-seated question that you have for the universe or God or source energy or whatever you call it. This is a good time to build upon that foundation of consciousness and your ability to expand upon your knowledge of that information. If you like this video, please share and subscribe and let me know. Would love to hear your feedback. My email is markallenconcepts@gmail.com. My website's www.markallen.studio/astrology. Hey, no worries. This is the video for Capricorn. Those who have their sun in Capricorn, their ascendant in Capricorn, or their moon in Capricorn. If you do not know what your ascendant or moon sign is already, I would recommend going to my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology. Have a link to a great website you can get your free natal chart from. That'll show you where all the planets were at the time of your birth. And if you'd like to know more about that from me personally, I have new astrology information report packages available based on what you want to know. And for the sign of Capricorn, this new moon happening is in your third house. In your fifth house. The fifth house has to deal with children, creativity, love affairs, enjoyment, and romances. Since it's also in Taurus as well, Taurus is a very sensuous sign ruled by Venus, which has to deal with beauty and love, the feminine touch in things. And so I would really feel like this would be a great time to start that art project or creative endeavor that you've always wanted to do but haven't really found the right time, or have wanted to start but didn't know where. Now would be a great time to either do that or plant the seeds of the ideas of how you want to reach that goal or finish that painting or finish that song. It would be encouraged at this time to do that and see how that can also bring enjoyment and more creative problem-solving orientation to all other aspects of your life as well. And maybe if you have children, or if you are around children, or if you notice that children are creative with anything, they'll take literally dirt and turn it into some kind of story. Or when I was a kid, I just loved digging holes, whether it was at the beach or just even in the dirt, just digging a hole, filling it with water, or having matchbox cars or anything like that. You don't need much to create from, and especially with technology, there's so many amazing apps, there's so many amazing photo editing softwares, and all kinds of weird, crazy stuff you can do. It just takes a little bit of exploration in order to find out what you want to put your time into that brings you the most joy doing. So if you're a Capricorn, or if you have stuff in Capricorn, this is a great time to get creative. Find maybe more creativity in your romance. If you have a loved one, this would be a great time to take he or she out on a creative date, like a painting class, or a cooking class, something that you're learning how to create something. Dance class could be fun, something that piques your interest in terms of being creative, getting out there, and having fun in what you're doing. If you liked this video, please share it. Would love to hear any feedback that you have. My email is markallenconcepts@gmail.com. You can also find more information on my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology. Hello, Saggies. If you're Sagittarius, or your moon or your ascendant is in Sagittarius, this new moon reading will apply to you personally. If you do not know what your moon or ascendant sign is, I recommend going to my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology. There you can find a link to a free natal chart website that, by putting your birth information in, will give you a full detailed report on where all of the planets were at the time of your birth. That can give you a greater understanding on your personal astrological profile. And if you would like to know more about that, from me personally, I now have new astrology information report packages available based on what information you want to know. So for Sagittarius, this is in y'all's 6th house, Taurus is. So this new moon period is in things dealing with daily work, quality, employees, diet, or routine. The 6th house is kind of fastidious. What kinds of things are you doing every day? What things are seeming tedious? Perhaps you have a business that has grown exponentially, and now you're looking at those tedious details of daily work that perhaps you'd like to hire someone to do for you, or perhaps you are looking to change things about your routine, perhaps waking up earlier, changing something in your habit in order to improve upon your daily work, improve upon your routine, improve upon your happiness, etc. With diet, I think Taurus really has something to say here, because Taurus rules food and sensuous pleasures as well. So perhaps you want to introduce more quality food into your life. Perhaps it means cooking more, or perhaps that means finding a good chef around you that does a good meal prep service. Perhaps you're trying to improve your body or muscle train or get more athletic now that it's getting summertime, and changing your diet routine, adding more protein into your diet, or adding more vegetables into your diet, or whatever you need personally, adding that to your routine, making your routine more consistent so that you can rely upon it to sustain you, is favorable at this time and in the next 2 weeks. So if you set a goal for yourself now in the next few days and stick to it, it's going to benefit your overall well-being in general. So like I said, all things regarding your daily work, your quality of life, employees you may have or are wishing to hire, your diet or your routine. Focus on the seeds that you want to plant at this time and see what happens. Like I said, if you'd like more information, please visit my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology. And if you like this video, please share it and let me know what you think. Would love to hear any feedback. Hello, Scorpio. If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in Scorpio, this video forecast for the new moon in Taurus applies to you personally. If you do not know your moon or your ascendant sign, I recommend going to my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology. There I have a link to a free website you can get your natal chart from, and based on your birth information will tell you all about your astrological profile and where all the planets were at the time of your birth. If you want to know more about that from me personally, I now offer new astrology information report packages, and you can contact me on my website to learn more about that. So for Scorpio, this is your 7th house, which it deals with areas in your life regarding marriage, partnerships, and contracts. All three of these things are very similar in regards to commitment, and so this is a time to really get to set the seeds of commitment and knowing what you really want. Perhaps you're thinking about proposing, and now this is the time where you're thinking about setting the seeds of that commitment and what that will look like. Perhaps you're already married and you're wanting to recommit, or you're wanting to commit more of yourself to spending more time with one another. Or perhaps you have a business partnership that is looming, or you're starting a new business partnership with someone, or you're revisiting a business partnership, or you're revisiting your contract that you have at your job. Whatever it may be, you are building a foundation, you are planting the seed for bringing more harmony into these different aspects of your life, and determining how you're committing your time and what you're committing your time to, and how that affects you. And so perhaps you want to look for a new job or a new contract, or looking for something new to get committed to, or finding a new commitment in something. But the goal here being improvement. And so for over the next 2 weeks, how can you visit, especially since Jupiter is in Scorpio right now, and the new moon is opposite Scorpio in another fixed sign, you're really fixing, you're putting a fix on, you're expanding, you are personally expanding your understanding of how you commit your time, energy, effort to someone else or another entity, and what that commitment brings you. Is that commitment reciprocal? Is it bringing you reciprocal energy, or is it draining you? Or is there more that you could be doing to add to that to bring more to the table? Whatever that may be, now would be the time to start setting those goals, intentions, desires, seeds on how you want to improve those areas of your life over the next 2 weeks up until the full moon happening on May 29th. If you like this video, please share it, and please let me know. I'd love to hear any feedback that you have. My website is markallen.studio/astrology, and you can contact me there directly. I hope you like this video. Hello, Libra. This is your forecast for the new moon in Taurus from May 15th until May 29th, when the full moon is in Sagittarius. This applies to you if your sun, your moon, or your ascendant sign are in Libra. If you do not know your moon and ascendant sign, I recommend going to my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology. There I have a link to a free natal chart report that you can get from a website that I trust. And if you want to know more about your sign, that natal chart will tell you all about the different planets and where they were at the time of your birth. If you want to know more about that personally from me, I have astrology profile info report packages available. That information's on my website as well. With Libra energy, this new moon is in y'all's 8th house, and the 8th house in astrology rules joint ownership, regeneration, clairvoyance, and sex and death. It's the scorpionic house, and all things relating to Scorpio are all about regeneration, about taking birth from the ashes like a phoenix, the shadow side of the psyche, mysticism, Halloween time, the veil between two worlds. So with this new moon, if you've been seeking to change something about yourself, or work on something that has to do with you jointly own with someone, like a business or a home or a car or something of the like, how you are perceiving things, it's a good time to plant the seeds of growing that intuition and knowledge especially if that's what you're seeking. That would be favorable at this time. Being able to see the path ahead, seeing the future clearly, having visions of the future, opening yourself up, taking a bath, and really soaking in the comfort energy and seeing where that takes you and how deep in the mind and the psyche you can go. Really pull from those deep-seated thoughts and beliefs that you have and determine which ones are working for you and which ones aren't. If you want to know more about your personal sign, like I said, go to my website, markallen.studio/astrology, and if you liked this video, please share it with your friends and family. And if you liked this video, I would love your feedback, would love any ideas on other things I could talk about, other things you're interested in learning about in terms of astrology. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Hello, Virgos. Oh, I love you, Virgos. Virgos are good friends with Leos, and I have many Virgo friends, and I actually have a few planets in Virgo, so I personally love Virgo. Anyway, this is your new moon in Taurus forecast for May 15th until the full moon on May 29th. This is relevant to you if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in Virgo. If you do not know what your moon or ascendant sign is, I recommend going to my website, www.markallen.studio. There you can find a place to get your free natal chart that will tell you where all the planets were at the time of your birth. Virgos, this new moon is in your 9th house, and 9th house has to do with philosophy, religion, higher learning, ethics, morals, and long journeys. So these parts of your life are going to be highlighted at this moment, and if you have been wanting to start a new venture in any of these fields, it would be recommended to start thinking about that and intentionally writing it or whatever visualization technique you use to start the process of manifesting something. Now would be the time to plant those seeds. With perhaps there's new things you wanted to learn about. Sorry, apologize, I have allergies, that's why I sound like this. Perhaps there are new things you want to know about, expand upon, about, understand more, things like not just simple trade things, which might interest you, like skills or whatnot, but more of more abstract thinking and philosophical ideas, religious ideas, spirituality. Now would be a good time to start a course if you've been thinking about it for a while, or a lesson, or looking for that book that you've wanted to read on these matters, and picking one up or getting one from the Half Price bookstore. I highly recommend the Half Price bookstore in Westport. If you're in Kansas City, it's a great place. With this last full moon that happened in Scorpio until now, your sense of morality and ethics has shifted in some way for the better, where you've understood more finite details about who people are and the types of people you find ethical and those who you find unethical, and perhaps situations that you see that are unethical that you would not choose to behave in a certain way had you been in a position. But the important thing is to internalize that, not fight against that, and look at that being examples of what you do not want to be like, and allowing that to shape your character in a way that will be beneficial in the future, so that when you see a reverse situation or a repeat pattern, you will have more understanding of this thought process and how to respond and act ethically. If you want to know more about your personal sign or anything else astrology related, please visit my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology, and I have all my information on there and ways that you can contact me and find out more about yourself and your planets. If you like this video, please share, please subscribe, please give me your feedback. I love you guys. Have a great one. Okay, Leos, I'm a Leo, so this is also for me as well. This applies to you if you have your sun, your moon, or your ascendant in Leo. If you do not know what your moon or ascendant sign is, I recommend going to my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology. There I have all of the information that you need to get your natal chart, which is where all of the planets were at the time of your birth. If you want to know more about that personally, I also have ways to contact me. So Leo, this new moon is in your 10th house, which has to do with your status, your honor, your prestige, your reputation, and your profession. This is a time to plant the seeds in how you want to be perceived in your profession, whatever path that is. If you're a Leo, you're naturally very creative. So there's many of you who are in the creative professions or are naturally creative as your hobby or side hustle. We very much care about how others perceive us. That can be good or bad. But generally, Leos are comfortable being in the spotlight. They are comfortable talking in front of others, at least more so than most. And we are really putting ourselves out on the line when we are representing our business or our career or our company or whatever we do. We take very good care of being conscious of how we are representing ourselves or the entity that we represent. And this is a good time to take the quiet energy that exists and plant the seeds for growth over the next 2 weeks on what part of your professional side or your status or your reputation, how you want to improve that and grow upon that and work with what has worked for you in the past and keep going for it. Perhaps you've won an award at something or are looking to win an award at something or apply for more opportunities that have to do with that part of yourself that is representing your creative side in a sense, and stepping into a leadership role perhaps in regards to a event or creative venture or thing that you are working towards this year in terms of something that you are presenting to others. Now is a good time to really get down in the energy and write your intentions and set your intentions, because those avenues of your life will be favored at this time to focus upon. And the next 2 weeks will be a good time to bring growth into that area of your life. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe and share it. And also please give me feedback. We'd love to hear from you on what you liked, what you would like to know more about, any questions that you have. My website is www.markallen.studio/astrology, and my email is on there. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much. Hello, Cancer. This is your new moon in Taurus forecast report from now until the full moon on May 29th. This applies to you if your sun, moon, or ascendant sign is in Cancer. If you do not know what your moon or ascendant sign is, I recommend going to my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology. There you can find a link to get your free natal chart, which will tell you where all the planets were at the exact time of your birth. If you would like to know more about your sign and your natal chart personally, I have new astrology info report packages available based on what you want to know. That's information's on my website as well. So for Cancer, this new moon is in your 11th astrology house, and this house represents community, large groups, friends, goals, and ambitions. So it is wise to set your intentions tonight based in the next few days and work towards the next 2 weeks. Excuse me, sorry, I have allergies. And in regards to your community, whether you're a creative person and you're into music or art or dance or theater, or whether you have a more specialized profession, like a doctor or a lawyer, or whatever it is that you do, or whatever groups that you associate with, whether that's a church group or a soccer group or dodgeball or any kind of group or community or large groups of friends that you have, this is a good time to focus on goals that you have regarding that. Like maybe you want to get out there and join more social activities this summer, and now would be a good time to start looking for that kind of thing because the universe will provide that very easily to you. If you're in those large groups, perhaps there's a way in which you can use that group energy towards a goal that you have. If you're gifted in music and you're performing in front of large groups and you're wanting to perform in larger groups or get more feedback from your personal group, this would be a good time to start setting intentions for that. And your sense of community. How are you helping your community? What does your community mean to you? What are ways that you want to get more involved in your community to improve the beauty of it, to improve the pleasure of the group? Anything you can do to bring to the table is going to be favored at this time to really set your intention and goal towards this. If you like this video, please share and subscribe and like it. We'd love to hear your feedback, what you like, what you would like to know more about. You can visit my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology, and I also have more information on how to find out about your personal astrology profile. Hello, Gemini. This is your astrology forecast for the new moon in Taurus from May 15th until May 29th, 2018. This applies to you if your sun, moon, or ascendant sign is in Gemini. If you do not know what your moon or ascendant sign is, I recommend going to my website, www.markallen.studio/astrology. There I have a link to find your natal chart information. It's where all the planets were at the time of your birth. So there's a link to a trusted source that I have that will give you that immediately. If you would like to know more about that personally, you can contact me. I have different astrology info report packages available based on the information you want to know more about. So for Gemini, this new moon is in your 12th house, which is the last house because that is behind you. The next season we're going into is Gemini. And the 12th house is the house of undoing, the subconscious, spiritual breakthroughs, and deep-seated habits and patterns. So perhaps the full moon in Scorpio previously highlighted something unpleasant or something unwanted or something you wished were a bit different, and now you're going through the process of learning how deep-seated this pattern of behavior or thought pattern or belief that you've held very tightly has affected you, and now you're saying, okay, I want to leave the past behind, and I want to go very deep and release that pattern and pave the way for a seed of a new pattern of behavior to take over and improve upon whatever it is that you're wanting to improve upon. It's a great time to release and to look towards the ways you really want to improve yourself subconsciously, how perhaps there's beliefs or fears or anxieties that you've held that have kind of been holding you back or bringing you fear, and now's the time that you want to let that go so that you can improve and get better at whatever it is that you do. We all go through the 12th house. It happens to all of us. It's not necessarily the most pleasant house, but because it's the new moon, it wouldn't be as intense as, say, if it was the full moon. So the new moon's a really good quiet time that's dark and relaxing. Will really allow you to go very deeply inward should you choose to do that, which I would recommend because the universe is highlighting that at this time and saying, look, you have the next 2 weeks that you can build upon something. How about building upon ways you want to improve your relationship with yourself and these subconscious behaviors and beliefs about yourself that could use some changing. And meditating on that and going really deep is going to help you get closer to the root of what is of concern to you. If you like this video, please share and subscribe and like and whatever else you want to do with it. Thank you for listening. Glad you liked it. I would love to hear your feedback. My website's www.markallen.studio/astrology. My email's on there. Would love to hear what you think about everything, what you liked, what you would like to hear more about, any questions you have. Thanks for listening, and have a good one.